I'm super curious to know, why is it that when somebody brings up something that is a race related issue or a culture related issue or an issue about unfair treatment, that we always assume that that person is lying? Or there's always people that jump in that are so quick to trigger and act like that's not a thing, as if the person making the statement is talking to you specifically. Like, I feel like there are certain things and certain experiences that happen in this world that are different, right? Different people going through life experience different things depending on where you live, depending on your background, depending on what you look like. You go through different experiences in life. However, if somebody like offers a complaint or says something that they wish was better or whatever, why do we always jump and attack that person and act like their experience isn't real? Like, why are we so quick to defend somebody's experience of racism and act like they're not experiencing racism? Like, why do we always try to defend something that happens so often? It's almost like if somebody walked up to me and they said they had this experience, who am I to say that they didn't have that experience? Like, I just think it's interesting that we live in a world where somebody can tell you about their experience, but then your reaction to their experience that they're telling you about is to tell you that you're triggering something that's not real, but it actually did happen to you. It's such an interesting world that we live in. It's like we act like this country wasn't founded on racism. Like, that's actually how this country was founded. And it's a fact. Now, that doesn't mean that all people that come from the dominant culture are racist. Absolutely not. But it did happen. But it's like we can't have those conversations because as soon as we say it, people feel triggered by it. Like, what about the people that feel a way that we can't talk about how we feel? Like, it's like this weird dichotomy where it's like, hey, we know you might have been through really terrible things, and we'll silently acknowledge those terrible things because those terrible things like are in history books, and those terrible things did happen, and those terrible things like are the cause of a lot of laws and rules that had to change. And there are certain amendments, right, in the law that is saying that people should be treated fairly and equally. But you cannot complain about those things because those things aren't real and those things didn't happen. But yes, there are laws that are around those things because they did happen. So it's like, so did it happen or did it not happen? It's like, we're always trying to control people's emotions and control how people feel. And I don't understand that. I don't understand how we have evidence and proof of things that happen, but yet when somebody says it happened, we always try to act like it didn't happen. It's just a weird thing. The other thing is too, is I think the real issue here is the people who hear people talk about the things that have happened in their experiences and talk about the things that impact them. They almost feel like you're personally attacking them. Although we're not talking about that person specifically, but there's always certain people that immediately try to like judge you and try to trigger you and try to bring up things that have nothing to do with the topic and try to downplay how you're feeling. And I just don't understand why. I don't understand why that's a thing. Like, why, if somebody is telling you their experience or if somebody has an opinion, what does it do for you to bash their opinion or to act like their opinion didn't exist, even though they're not the only person that has that opinion? It's like this weird thing that happens in the world. Like, I don't understand why it happens, or I don't understand if it will ever not happen. But it seems like it happens so often and we just like pass over. It's like you expect it, right? Like, you just expect people to be like, oh, she's full of it. Like, you already know who's going to just listen to anything you're saying. You could have details, facts, paperwork, documentation, police reports, all the evidence you want. You could have won money from a lawsuit and people will still act like you're making things up and that you're race baiting, although the thing that you're talking about actually did happen. So I don't know. I'm just asking, like, why does this happen? Why is this the world that we live in? Like, are we that lazy that we can't understand that somebody's experience in life actually might be their experience? Like, why do we always take away from other people's experiences? Like, why do we think other people's experiences make us less than? That's just something I can't understand. So I don't know. I'm just putting it out in the world. Maybe somebody will say something in my comments that will help me to realize this, but it's so crazy that you can't have your own experiences and your own opinions without somebody coming at you and attacking you and telling you that everything that you just experienced isn't true. It's almost like it's like a personal attack on them, but they have nothing to do with the thing. Anyways, let me know in the comments below if you've had this experience, if you have an answer, because to me, it's just flat out weird.